Common mistake number 9, trying to do it for free, i.e. not spending any money on the apps. Again, remember the algorithm. What does the app exist for? It exists for keeping people there and making money from the people that are there. So if the app has a choice between making one customer happy that spends money and another customer that doesn't spend money, which one do you think it's going to favor?
Listen, I know there's a whole bunch of dudes that are just gonna fight this. To me, this means you just lack total experience in the arena of dating altogether. And I'm not trying to be funny and I'm not trying to be judgy. I'm just being honest. You have to lack a tremendous amount of experience not to understand the way this works. When you're going to a club, if the cover charge for everybody is $20 to stand in this long line that's wrapping around the building, and the women are already on the inside, and you see they're letting women in ahead. You know, they're letting women in for cheaper, if not free, in some cases, right? Jump the line if possible. Here's the line. You just want to just jump the line, and then you get treated differently. Consider the incentives that come with spending money. That's just the way it works in everything. This just ain't dating. This is just life in general. When you're willing to spend a little bit more money, you're usually going to get better results. Welcome back to Perspective in my new segment titled Unsolicited Opinions, where I'll be giving my unsolicited opinion on different videos I come across in the form of reaction videos. For my first of 3 videos in particular, I'm reacting to the YouTuber / dating coach Todd V Dating in his video, How to Get Dates from Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, etc., where he breaks down the 13 common online dating mistakes men make. In this video, I'll be reacting to 4 of those 13 common online dating mistakes men make. Be sure to give this video a like and get in the comments and share your perspectives and experiences with online dating apps, and I hope you learned something that can add value to your dating experience going forward. Without anything further, let's get into the first video. Todd V Dating. And he talks about how to get dates from Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, right? Now, what drew me to this particular video is I hear a lot of complaining. And I believe in solutions. So if there's complaints, let's have some solutions. So I'm going to just go ahead and jump into the video, and hopefully you guys get something from it, as I did or as I would have if I would have been in this place. But just sharing information here. So let's go.
First mistake. So now every single app has its own unique algorithm because they're all programmed independently and they're all set up a little bit differently, but they all have a couple of things in common. They all benefit from keeping people on the app, and they all benefit from making money on the app. That's what the app's primary goal is. The app does not care how many relationships, how many marriages they create. The app cares how much money they bring in short-term and long-term. So every single decision they make is with that in mind. Now, this may seem ominous or negative or unfair, but actually it's an opportunity. Because if you understand the app and know how to use it to your advantage, whereas the other 99% of men do not, you are going to get shown to more girls in more favorable ways, more efficiently and better than they are. So as we go through the rest of this list, I'll make the points where the algorithm is involved, but I want you to keep in mind at all times that you're dealing with human beings and a computer. If you forget the computer part of it, you're going to be making things a lot more difficult for yourself than it should be. Couple quick examples of understanding the algorithm. First one is auto swiping right. It doesn't work with most algorithms. Reason being that if you are automatically swiping right, there are 2 things happening. Number 1, the app is rating you based on how selective or unselective you are, and it's correlating unselective to unattractive in many cases. So you're going to be seen by the app as less attractive. Also, if you are willing to swipe right on mediocre girls, the app has no incentive to show you attractive girls. So the auto swipe right strategy, which did actually kind of work in the very early days of online dating, absolutely does not work in most apps now. And that's something you need to understand because the algorithm will be against you if you employ such a strategy. Second one that I would give.
Now, so let me speak on that one just briefly. Yeah, if you're playing the numbers game, if you're trying to just say, okay, I'm going to swipe right on everything that I come across, and by default, somebody's going to swipe right on me, and then we're going to connect. Would you do that in the regular dating world? Would you shoot your shot at every single woman you came across in the regular dating world? I don't think you would. So why would you employ that as a strategy on a dating app? Even if it worked in the past, that just sounds borderline idiotic to begin with. No, you need to be selective in your process no matter what. And it just reeks of desperation if you're just automatically swiping right on everything in hopes to get a connection.
Use of boosts on certain apps. There are certain apps where if you boost after you haven't been on the app in a while and you haven't been shown to very many people, you'll get very good results from that boost. But if you keep boosting and boosting time after time after time, right in quick succession, a couple of things are happening. Number one, the app has fewer available choices of new people that are active and online to show you, so you're gonna get less performance for that boost for that reason. Also, it's my strong belief that the app sort of wants to give you a certain amount of matches to keep you on the site, but doesn't have any interest in giving you tons and tons of matches or more matches than it's determined that a person could reasonably use or reasonably needs.
So using the boost, I know I did that a few times, and it would usually tell you something like, oh, you've used the boost and X amount of people have seen your profile. Now, do you always get a match from the boost? No, it just tells you that somebody saw you, more people saw you, and so that might work as far as results, but I don't remember ever using a boost and then all of a sudden getting a match and then it progressing forward. Maybe it did work, maybe it didn't work, but I didn't use a lot of them. And then the other thing is, when you use the boost, it tells you to do it again. I know he's telling you to not do it in rapid succession like that, but the apps themselves, once you hit the boost, it says your boost was successful. Even if it wasn't successful, it says your boost was successful. Use it again. Yeah, listen to this man. I'm going to probably lean in his direction as to, you don't want to keep using the boost. And you're spending money using the boost. The apps want you to spend money. Remember, he said that at the very beginning.
If you're overusing the boost or you're trying to get too many matches at once, the algorithm will actually throttle you on most sites. And that's been, from objective experience, that's been what I've seen from me and my clients on various sites. Okay, so understanding there is an app, understanding that there is an artificial intelligence behind the scenes controlling what you get for your efforts, definitely dictates what efforts are worth putting in and what efforts are not. Common mistake number 2, failure to iterate and failure to optimize. And this is true if you're completely failing and not getting any results. It's also true of most guys that are getting decent results already, but not getting outstanding results. See, the thing is, your profile can always be tweaked and always improved. And you should know that actual online marketers, they go and they optimize and tweak and they change the headline and they change this word and they change this color and they change this font and they change the layout and they change the time before this pop-up comes up on the page. They're tweaking and changing everything. Now, obviously on an online dating app, there are parameters that you can and can't change, but within what you can change, you should be trying things out. You should be tweaking, testing, trying, optimizing, etc.
So, I mean, again, that only makes sense, right? If we're men and we're logical, everything he's saying makes sense. And if you're just lazy and don't want to do it, then don't do it. But don't run your ass online complaining about a lack of results and how everything's geared to work against you. Like, you can't do that. You can't not try different things, not try to optimize your results and then fail and then complain. That's not the way this works, right? We don't do that. And he did mention writing a bio. I as a guy, and so when I would be online, I would read what the women wrote. I assume that women read what the men write. If it looks like you took no effort, what's the point? Like, why would somebody be interested? What, just because of the way you look? Like, no, I mean, the whole point in writing a bio is to explain or introduce yourself enough to where they can put the picture and the words together to make a more informed decision about who they're going to try to make a connection with.
Number 3 common mistake, bad photos. And yes, I already know bad photos. Yeah, it goes a little deeper than that, okay? I'm gonna tell you specific ways that your photos can be bad and specific ways to make them better. Number 1, please get professional photos, at least 1 or 2. Get 1 or 2 photos where your face is well lit, well framed, and hopefully the background is blurred, and the expression on your face is the best, most compelling you can make it, and your face looks its physical best, okay? Get a professional photographer to take
Listen, this isn't about, did you guys hear what he said? He just said, get a good photo. He didn't say anything about being a good looking man. Take note in that. Get good photos. He didn't say anything about your level of attraction. Pay attention to that.
hundreds of photos and pick the best 2 or 3, okay? That's what you need to do because other guys are doing that, right? And if they're doing that and you're not, they're gonna stand out. And primarily, or one of the primary things a girl's looking at in your photo is this person physically attractive? Now, physically attractive does not necessarily mean you need to look like a model in terms of your physique, but if you're shot like a model, that does help a lot. If you're well lit, that does help a lot.
Listen, I know a lot of guys are sitting there thinking, I'm not spending money on a bunch of photos for these women to not shoot. Listen, again, with all the complaining I observe myself, I'm not trying to hear any of it. If you're not willing to employ new strategies to get better results and you are still complaining, listen, I have nothing for you. I don't even have respect for you at that point.
If you're wearing good clothes and have good style and good hair in your photos, that does help a lot. It all comes together. With getting professional photos, with having good clothes, having good hair, I would conservatively, and this is being generous and conservative, I would say that you can at least boost your appearance by 2 to 3 rating points on a 10-point scale, if not more. For actually, ironically, the less attractive you are, the more.
So that means if you do, he's basically saying if you do what he said, conservatively, 2 to 3 points on a rating scale. That means if you're an average guy, somewhere around 4 to 5, and you do what he said, you could bump yourself on a rating scale to 7 or 8. Why would you not? Why? Because it's not you, because it's not in your personality, because you ain't catering to these females, because it's simping, because they need to like you for you and looks don't matter.
Get out of this, right? The more you can get out of changing your look, changing your style, getting better photos taken. Regardless of how good looking you are, you absolutely should. Here's a quick little example of this. Right? I had a student recently, he took photos he already had, and he actually had someone on Fiverr airbrush his photos and repost them. And he actually used a rating site to check the photos. He was able to get a 1.5 points higher rating on average on a 10-point scale simply by airbrushing his already taken photos. Point being this, effort put into your photos absolutely pays off. Second example, oftentimes when I'm teaching students live, I'll actually have someone on.
Effort put into anything pays off.
On my staff go take photos of them, and then they apply those photos to their online dating profile, and the results are night and day. A couple other common photo mistakes. Number one, for your non-professional photos, for your real world photos in your profile, please make sure they don't make you look uncool. Don't have a photo where you're in a crowd and you can't be found in the crowd, where you look like you just blend in. Don't have photos where you're with friends who look lame and ugly. No offense to your friends, but you are trying to put your best foot forward here. And also keep in mind throughout all your photos, you will be judged on your worst photo. The girl will assume your worst photo is the accurate representation of you. So what's the practical consequence of this? If you have 3 good photos and 1 mediocre one, get rid of the mediocre photo. It's hurting your profile, not helping it. If you're in doubt about if a photo is good, err on the side of leaving it out if you already have some good photos in your profile. Common mistake number 4, poor app selection. And this can mean,
I'd say, listen, gentlemen, if you have women friends or acquaintances or a family member that you trust, show them your profile. Show them your profile and have them give you a little, just, hey, what do you think? Can you judge this for me? Do that. This
can mean poor overall app selection for your area or region or city. and it can also mean poor app selection for you personally. There are a lot of places in Europe where Tinder is actually quite good, and in fact, that's almost the only app people are on. But in the US, there are a lot of fake profiles on Tinder, and Hinge tends to be better, especially in a lot of the major cities. So knowing your app, knowing what app is good or what app is bad, absolutely can make a huge difference in your results. And by the way, you don't have to be loyal to one app. It's okay to be on multiple apps at the same time. It may be that there's one app that's really, really good, but has maybe a small dating pool, max out that app, and then move over and get the best results you can on another app. Also,
that's funny. I remember living in New Orleans. You'd be on an app and you'd make a connection, or you'd see somebody on the app, and then you go to another app and you see the same people on that app. So I hear what he's saying, and I'm not disagreeing at all. I've definitely used more than one app at a time. But I know for a fact I've seen the same person on other apps. So almost like when you're in a city and you go to a club and you see the same people at the same clubs every weekend, you just leave a club and you get to the next club and you realize you saw somebody from that club at the next club. That ever happened to y'all? No, just me? Yeah, it's happened. So
as I mentioned in the algorithm, certain apps will throttle you. They'll give you a certain amount of matches per day, and then they'll make it harder to get matches. What you should probably do is get the amount of matches you can on that app and then get some matches from some other apps. Finally, other apps are better or worse for different things. For example, one app that has really fallen out of favor recently, it used to be the biggest app, but it still has some small utility, is Match.com. And the reason Match.com can actually be good in a small measure along with other apps is that it allows you to search and match without swiping and without the other person having to match with you first. So you're able to actually get your message into somebody's inbox without matching, which can be a huge advantage in dating. Now the problem is Match.com has actually become a smaller app compared to what it used to be, and making that your sole app is probably not a robust online dating strategy, but it's certainly a good addition while using other apps as well. Finally, along with this idea that you can be on multiple apps at once, you also shouldn't give up just because you don't succeed on one app. I've seen plenty of people who struggle on one app and absolutely crush it on another app because either of the demographic on that app or because of some peculiarity of the algorithm. Final point in regards to multiple apps, a lot of guys will fail on one app. For example, they'll hop on Tinder, get no success, and then they will just give up on online dating entirely. I know plenty of people who struggle on Tinder but do great on Hinge, for example. Or they struggle on Hinge but do great on Bumble. These things do happen. You want to test the different apps. There are peculiarities in the algorithm, peculiarities in the demographic, different things that might affect your personal success. It's a good idea to try out multiple apps and see where you particularly succeed.
And that's all I have in this segment of Unsolicited Opinions. Be sure to catch my next video where I react to 5 through 9 of the 13 common online dating mistakes men make. If you like this video, hit that like button, and as always, do subscribe. Until next time,